Derek, when you kind of alluded to it yesterday, but just when you watch McDavid right now, is there anybody? I mean, he put best player of the
Yeah.
league, but boy, he's got to be a short, very
It's
short
yeah,
list.
it's tough to put that on anyone, but just the numbers, just getting the scout prepared for tonight, just seeing some of the things he does. We get a chance to see Toronto, Tampa, Boston, some of those elite guys. So we don't get a chance to see these guys as much, obviously. So, I'm no different. Obviously, we're competing against them. We're trying to check them. Any opportunity for success is about keeping them somewhat in check. But there's also somebody excited to see them and play against them because, they're elite of elite.
I mean, everybody's in the same boat, but just coming back up a long break, does it take a while to get back into the swing of things?
Yeah, I think so. It's interesting even watching some of the games last night to see some guys, some teams in sync, some teams not quite in sync. Tampa's a perfect example. So, you do the best you can. I like the fact that we got in a day early by rule, and our guys wanted to be in a day early. So, we got a couple quality practice in. Probably would have been an optional this morning, but we thought it was important to get some touches. So, again, I just think it's tough to replicate that game intensity. We'll challenge the guys to win some battles early, some foot races early, try to get involved.
With the success that Mata and Verona had earlier in the year, have you guys looked at pairing them back up again?
Yeah, it's possibly because there was some underlying numbers there where they did well, but it would put Sherratt in that 5-6, which is, and Benny does a lot for us physically. We're not a hard team. He brings hard, so it's more probably that. But we've talked about, of course, it's always on the table. And again, knock on wood, we've been very fortunate. As many injuries as we've had up front, we've been fairly healthy on the back end.
It's not he's probably at least met expectations and maybe
Yes.
surpassed whatever he's.
Surpassed mine. Appreciate him as a player, seeing him around the league, but having him every day, unbelievable work ethic. He's a pro, comes to practice every day, takes his reps very serious, translating to his game, and I give him a lot of credit. Introductory phone call to him this summer. How you doing? Just get to know him. He says, the last few years I've had slow starts. It's something I want to work on. And I love the fact he communicated that 5 minutes into our first conversation. And we talked about some things, and he hit the ground running from day one. So it's a credit for him, and just a great pro and just a really good NHL team, and it's helped us a ton.
Overall, on the back end, is that a space where you look at when it comes for expectations versus reality, where you look at this as farther along than you would thought going forward?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know further along, but been happy with our D group. I think that's helped our overall improved team defense. I just think some of those guys are committed to playing the right way too. So, yeah, as a D core, you asked to evaluate where they are through 48 games, whatever. Been pretty consistent, pretty happy with the group as a whole.
I was talking to Jake, and he mentions just as he's been elevated in this role, and he always felt that he could reach this spot. He always had that internal drive, and was just kind of proving other people wrong. I'm curious what you've seen from him into this point.
He just keeps playing at a high level. He's hurt at the beginning of the season. He misses the front end. We have tempered expectations of what he could be, and he hit the ground running. But I appreciate some of the things he's worked on his game, and taking the high risk out of his game, the egregious mistakes defensively, the egregious turnovers. He's done a good job of limiting those. Even of late, though, as he can see the confidence building, you can see he's adding a little risk into his game. You kind of want to have that balance of letting these guys play, but at the same time, not getting himself in trouble. But again, he's been great in all areas. I'm most excited his commitment to defending. People see the offense at times, a couple highlight caliber type goals, but I've appreciated how he's jumped his checks, he's finished checks, he's killed plays in the D zone. That's what gets us most excited about Jake.
How did you go about connecting with him? Going to the coach when he's dealing with the injury and you don't get the
Yeah, great question. Just like any player, just try to communicate. my college teammate was his college coach, Nate Lehman, and he gave me some great insight. Just he's still finding his way. He'll just communicate with him, care about him like anyone else. He'll appreciate a relationship like that, and he'll hopefully respond. I think he's done that, and I think it's also a credit to Bob Bugner. Probably had a similar approach.
You kind of use your connections, like you talk to previous coaches of these.
Of course,
guys,
yes.
Just to get more insight.
100%. And I'm not as familiar with the league. I've only been in the National Hockey League 5 years, and probably not the same contacts as some of these experienced NHL coaches. But of course, I think that's all part of getting to know someone, what they're about.
What's the appropriate line to say you have know the league? I mean, 5 years is still,
Yeah, that's hard to say. Yeah. I don't know if it's an ever evolving league. I mean, it's evolved in the 5 years. I've been in this league. You're always looking for answers. It's a copycat league. You see who's doing things well and why. You try to mimic that. So yeah, I don't know if you'll ever. It's an ever evolving league. Why it's so challenging.
When you look at kind of the evolution of the league right now, where across the league, goalies, I think save percentage is low. It's like where do you see that? Is that more of?
I personally think it's the skill set, the skill level. You look at, I have kids going through minor hockey, coming from the junior, even in the time I was coaching junior hockey, see some of the talent evolve. It seems like every year the talent's more elite, power plays score at a better rate. So I just think it's a more rounded skill. These kids coming up, and now they're just getting more and more in the league. Because I think the defense, there's a commitment to playing defensive hockey. It's we talk about this offense, but the last 4 teams standing, and I was fortunate enough to be one of those teams for the last 3 years. It's still the tight checking on top. Those are the teams that are there in the end.
With that mindset and just knowing from your time in Tampa and looking as you're building here, what is the current and future role of that third line as we look as the game evolves?
That's a great question. Even we're built like that. We don't have a traditional third, fourth line. We have skill throughout all 4 of our lines. I think a lot of teams are built like that, but I still think those, I wouldn't say perfect, those well-designed, ready-to-win teams, they still check throughout their lineup, especially the depth of their lineup. We had that luxury. Everyone thinks of Tampa. Of course, our success, you think about Kucherov, Stamkos, Point, but the Yanni Gords of the world, the Tony Cirellis of the world, it was our checkers that were probably truly the difference makers.
Those kids that you were talking about, the junior kids, I mean, particularly what skill? The skating?
Skating, stick, deception. I think, some of these guys, they're all like that. We are not a talented, deep team compared to most teams in this league, and we have some really talented guys through both power plays. I just think the skill set, the depth of some of the skill in these teams is remarkable. I think that's probably a little bit to do with the offense. All right, thanks, guys.